Soon to an adult theater near you.
Cookies, anything.
I keep trying to record the screen to have something for this, but porn keeps showing up.
It's
so.
hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious.
Irma, how are you? I'm here for your pleasure.
You want a main course, Monica? What do you like?
Ernie, I like to suck cock.
X. Adults only. No one under the age of 18 will be admitted. No exceptions. Coming soon, Scandalous Simone. It's a public scandal.
What are you spotting me?
You know, Mr. Dixon, I do believe we're all out of funds again.
I can't stand it anymore.
Oh, Mr. Dixon, what are you doing?
Hi, I'm Bernie.
You want to buy some cookies?
In starring roles in a remake of Gone with the Wind.
Tom.
At your own risk.
Come at his feet. I'm a private eye. This business isn't like you see on TV. I'll do anything to get my man. And I mean anything.
I have Leopold, Michael, Georgie, Count Dracula, King of Shadows, evil, lust, and death lurk within my cloak. And yet,
I know this one, it's right.
it was not always so. Dracula, as you have never seen him.
What's up?
What's up? It's 1 something in the morning. We leave in a couple hours for Ohio.
Yes.
For
1:30.
1:30 in the morning. So I don't remember what started the conversation about this.
I don't know either. We were talking about maybe like not even porn. We
No.
just got on like old clips of like stuff we were talking about. And then
We might have been talking about movie trailers.
yes, and then you're like, oh, they actually make one with old like porn trailers.
Yeah,
I was like,
because
what?
yeah. So we got here showing the DVD. So we got 42nd Street Forever, XXX Stream, so I have the other 42nd Street Forever DVDs because I'm a huge Grindhouse trailer guy. I love.
We were talking about Grindhouse. That's what it was.
And then because I showed you tonight the Crippled Masters trailer.
Yes, and that was fantastic.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But I love trailer compilations, and we had the conversation that like porn movies used to have trailers, like 35 millimeter trailers. They had posters. I have tons of porn posters in my collection because when we closed down the theater in Cinnaminson, New Jersey, it became an AMC, but it was a porn theater before that.
Right.
And we just all these porn posters were there, like just take whatever you want. So I have a bunch of them in my apartment, but.
And for us, just as kid, like for me at least, as a kid, you used to have porn theaters
VHS,
everywhere.
yeah.
Like it was like a peep shows, and you had all that shit. And like none of that shit exists really.
There really wasn't like so I'm younger than you, but I remember a couple porn theaters. And obviously I have my famous story about when I was 16, and they sent me when I worked at AMC. To a gay porn theater on Chestnut in Philadelphia.
Which I know it's exactly what you're talking about.
Because they had, so it used to be like sound drums for 35 millimeter, and they were going to video, or they'd gone to video, so they were getting rid of all their film stuff, and they were like, you drive, can you go over there? And this is 1999, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you imagine nowadays if they sent a 16-year-old kid across state lines to a gay porn theater. But I vividly remember they weren't open, so there's nothing playing. But I remember the posters, and then I remember their concession stand had like a like one of those boards you'd stick pins into.
Nice.
But it had like clothespins with bags of chips on them. So that was their concession, was like Fritos and stuff like that. But yeah, there was an interesting time where there was adult theaters, but not even just adult theaters that showed video and DVDs and stuff like that, but they showed 35 millimeter film. And this DVD is 2 hours worth of
just compilation,
like actual physical trailer.
It was amazing.
Yeah, because at first, and a lot of these movies you and I had known.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And some we'd seen clips of, or some just like, oh, I remember that.
Some I've literally been searching. There was one clip that I constantly would tell him about, and it was about a giant vagina that was life size and would just like walk around his house.
Wouldn't a life-size vagina just be a regular vagina?
No, I mean this was like it was it was huge. It took up a whole entire room, and then a guy fucks these dolls or girls that are like living dolls, but he has to wind them up. And I never knew what the name of this movie was.
And it was F.
It was called F, but I was convinced it was Babes in Toyland. So like that's what for decades that I thought that this.
Well, because Babes in Toyland was a movie.
It was a movie, but
and then there was also a band.
Right. And that was like the porn that I remember because it was similarly like themed like what Babes in Toyland was supposed to be.
Was it Keanu Reeves in the '80s version of it? Like the
I don't know.
I think he was, and Drew Barrymore. But yeah, so it's really cool to see a time before pornography had become just
point and shoot.
Yeah, point and shoot and gonzo stuff and all that. Like there's actual stories and it was shot on 35 millimeter film. And I was like saying to you, I was like, wow, these trailers are like surprisingly well cut. Yeah.
Oh my god, some of them are just like, wow. And like some of them you didn't expect to see like the money shot like right away. And
a lot of money shots.
I was like just amazed. I was like, don't they save anything like for the good stuff? People didn't care. They want it for the production.
But then it's like I try to put myself in the thought process of like, okay, if I went to a theater to see a porn movie, that they would show ads before the movie.
Probably during too. They had an intermission.
Well, because remember, like the VHS used to have like long stretches in the beginning of like 900 numbers you could call and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yes,
I was guilty of that. As a child.
Did you get your parents' permission?
No, I did not. I spent like $700 in the 80s, and I got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. There's a friend of mine, Zoe. I think you met Zoe on Pool Toy.
Yes.
She and I have been talking for years about making a bunch of fake 1-900 number commercials that would be on like late night TV in the 80s and early 90s.
It was always like 976 wet.
Yeah, like I'm Stephanie. What are you doing
tonight?
But
the thing is like you would call it up and like it would be getting a story of like telling you like what's going on, and then all of a sudden it just cut off.
Yeah.
And as a kid, like I didn't understand like that's how they got you to keep calling back, so I just kept calling back to find out what the fuck the story was.
Did you eventually get the full story?
No.
No, it didn't change your life?
No, but that's why I figured out what masturbation was as a kid.
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, true. Like, as I said to you, I think the first porn that I ever remember was called The Taste of Money, and it was on a tape that had Ghostbusters on it originally. Oh, I was at my friend Brian Riley's house, and we found the tape for Ghostbusters. It was handwritten on the label, and we put it in. It was Ghostbusters up to the point where they go and get the loan, like he mortgages the house, and then it becomes this movie called The Taste of Money. And my friend has a channel called Barefoot and Independent, which if you've never seen it, you should, because he mentions me all the time. And it's kind of funny. He discovered us when I worked at the Water Tower Theater. I think it was before you even were on camera. We did a video about Wave Entertainment, those guys in New Jersey that made a lot of those mail order movies. And I guess he was just searching for Wave, found us, and then did this video about us. So he's super fucking cool. And what he does, he takes porn movies and he cuts them down to be G or PG. Oh, God. So they're squeaky clean adult film. But this has got a lot of good shit, and a lot of like actors who, you know, I still remember, like the Jamie Gillises and the Vanessa Del Rios and the
Ginger Lynn was in it. Like some of the guys that was like, I remember him. Like
Harry
I've always
Reams,
loved seeing him, and like just seeing some of the actors from just back in the day and
Tom
realizing
Byron.
how many films they were in, like, before all the controversy came out and shit like that.
Well, yeah, because a lot of it, like, there was only, like, they couldn't film in certain places because of the laws, so that's why the Valley became a thing. But you could always tell, like, the New York compared to LA ones, because you would have, like, the Shannon Mitchells in the New York ones, and they were a bit grittier and more punk. Yeah. But I liked in this, like, there was, like, a nice, like...
flow.
Well, it was just a nice collection of different types of things. It wasn't all just... balls and assholes and stuff like that.
And it's like a lot of stuff was like, I mean, you did have a lot of
put your balls in me.
No, a lot of the ones that I was like, I really want to know what the scene was, but you got to see like a lot of classic porn that was like not like edgy and very unconventional, like the first transgender bang scene, and then you had like. The interracials, you got to see, you can tell kind
of... The one with the guy with the condom. There's a whole thing, about a condom.
I was like, wait, there's an actual porn with a condom?
In the 80s, yeah, which is like, because even in the 90s, like, because, I became more cognizant of porn in the 90s. Yeah. When you started to, like, kind of get more into it.
And that's after the whole AIDS epidemic, so you had more frequent use of some actors using condoms.
But it was just interesting, again, to put yourself back in an idea of younger people not realize, porn is just this thing you search on your phone. It's like, no, these were theatrical movies that had budgets and storylines.
You had to find them on a tape somewhere, or you were swapping them out at West Coast Video, or...
I do remember the porn section. I remember the beaded curtain.
That curtain you had to walk behind that like you never got to see. And there's, I swear, every child from the 80s probably has one story about a movie being out and them thinking it might have been their cartoon, but no, it was the porn that was out. Yep. And then you went to put in your video, and guess what? Your parents are the only ones that got videos because their porn was out, and now you have to watch their porn.
That was, where I grew up, the video store that I went to was called B&C Video, and Kevin and I talk about it on Where Were the Adults a lot. And so there wasn't even, like, so it was just one room, all right? And it was broken up into sections only in, like, racks. So you'd walk in, and your new releases would be right here. On
one side.
And then you would have, like, your video games here, and then everything else was in little segments. The horror section was right here.
I remember
that. But the porn section was, like, literally...
That was like the TLA.
A little bit. So the porn section was literally just covered up by...
one curtain.
Well, no, it wasn't even a curtain. It was a rack going this way and a rack going that way. You had to go around it. But you could see through the thing. So it was when, 93 is when Jurassic Park came out on video... Jurassic Park filled up an entire wall, but you could see through it to the porn section. And I'll never forget that. Or the West Coast Video that was near us when we were growing up. One of our friends, Mike Martin, pushed this kid Mark DiNapoli through the curtain.
Oh yeah, that was always the thing.
But there was a something right there, and he smashed his face because he couldn't see what was on the other side. So I remember this kid splitting his lip because they pushed him into the porn section. But no, this was really cool, and I didn't know what to expect from it, because I have the other 42nd Street Forevers, Cooled by Refrigeration, Exploitation, Explosion stuff, and they're a nice combination of, like, nurse movies, grindhouse movies, giallo movies, stuff like this. But it was cool to see... It was cool to just see how these things were made.
Yeah. I mean, we were even sitting there trying to figure out the dubs and, like, all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah, because we had the idea. We were looking up who does the dubbing.
And then we found out that, like, a lot of the dubbing was made for the German audience because they were extreme into kids. So a lot of the things eventually, like, was really
I wonder, like,
for them.
But it was like, I would love to know I would love to see video of people dubbing a porn movie.
Oh yeah, we even read, like, there was an article on Reddit that was talking about a guy had a production company. Yeah. And, like, they're like, we were very professional, like, you...
Because they did it, Dave Attell had a show called Up All Night.
I used to love that show.
So they did one where they went to a porn dubbing session. Yeah. But I was like, that'd be crazy. Like, you have to, like, you're in there with another actor and you have to, like, act out what's going on screen, like, you know.
When you're dressed and you have no idea what's going on.
Exactly, yeah. But no, this was neat. Again, I'm being a huge trailer fan and being just fascinated by that era when porn was chic.
Yeah.
You know, you have that era between Beyond the Green Door and The Devil and Miss Jones and Deep Throat, where it was, like, mainstream. Like, there was, like, celebrities going to see...
I mean, there's such production... Like, the one was the one chick you were telling me that's telling you.
Oh, yeah, the Native American chick.
Hobby.
It starts with a T.
I thought it was H.
Stars at her last name, I think, does.
No, well...
There's an 80s adult film actress who started following me on social media, and she was in the Canterbury Tales.
Yes.
But she has a YouTube channel as well, and that might be why she friended me. I was like, oh, check out my YouTube channel. But, like, she was gorgeous.
I mean, you look at the production on that, and it looks like you're at the Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Like costumes, horses, like the gamut. You don't see that shit in porn anymore.
No, I mean, and then because I found a lot of the posters that I had that I didn't know I had, like The Farmer's Daughter has Spalding Gray in it, who's like a very well-known writer, you know? But yeah, no, there were great production values on some of these, and again, a lot of them were comedies.
Yes.
But you had like, you know, there was horror ones in there. There was
the
Dracula Exotica. But you had like sci-fi in there, and
it was a little bit of everything, and you didn't realize just how diverse it was.
Because I guess like at that time, in a time before the internet and stuff like that, it is almost a matter of like we can't just give them the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
again,
and nowadays now people
it doesn't matter.
It's like people like they're 5 minutes a clip, and they're either gonna watch up to the cum shot, or they're just gonna watch certain scenes, and that was it.
But I like the idea of like. Did you ever see From Dusk Till Dawn 2?
Yeah.
Where they're watching the porn and
I've
he's
seen
like,
all 3 of them.
he's like, because the third one was the Hangman's Daughter.
I thought that was the second.
Was it? No, the second one was Bruce Campbell
and
Tiffany Amber Thiessen in the beginning.
Okay.
But in the thing, they're watching a porn movie in a hotel room. He's like, I don't know, if I cared more about the story, I'd care more about the fucking. Yeah. And that's kind of what this is. Like, it was like actual like stories to hang the sex scenes on, you know. And I almost feel like. I almost feel bad. Like, I'd love to bring that back, but I know that it never can.
No, it can't.
You know?
People nowadays would just be like, what is this? Why is there so much story? Just get to the fucking...
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, I like the other stuff. Like, anytime that we saw one of these movies when we were kids, like, we didn't fast forward to the sex scenes.
No,
like,
we were all just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
You thought it was a regular movie, and then all of a sudden you see dick and balls. You're
exactly.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Because I saw, like, some of the John Holmes movies where, like, he was Johnny Wadd. He was, like, a detective, like the Jade Pussycat and stuff like that.
Oh, my God. What was the bondage, the James Bond? What was
Oh, yeah. There was, like, James Bomb or something like that. It was for Services Rendered.
Oh,
it was called. No, it's great. And there's just a lot of the actors who were big at that time are still ones that hold...
recognizable faces that you didn't realize, like, they were in... Like I said, there was a couple actors that I've seen for, like, decades, and I was just... didn't really know their names, because a lot of the times you knew the chicks more than the guys.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh wow, he was in this. Look how young he was.
Peter North popped up in a bunch of stuff, and Randy West popped up in a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that was more my era growing up. Because in the '90s, you had the Jenna Jamesons and the Jill Kellys and the Brianna Banks.
And then you had like, well, Jenna Jameson is more of like when it got more like reality TV. I want to say. It's not the production that they used to have.
Well, she did a couple...
but she also only fucked one person.
Yeah.
And that was mainly her husband at the time.
And because there was another chick who... God, there used to be this... it was Nicole Sheridan. She was always in scenes with the same dude. Because we used to have, like, satellite when I was a kid. Yeah. So it was TT Boy. Remember him?
Yes,
you know?
TT Boy.
But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I like the idea of... If you're going to be a fan of grindhouse cinema, if you're going to be a fan of exploitation cinema, a lot of it does deviate at porn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of directors like Wes Craven, Herschel Gordon Lewis, people like William Lustig. They all got their start in porn, and that era of 42nd Street is so important because a lot of, Maniac, William Lustig did, all the actresses with the exception of Caroline Munro were all porn actresses. Yeah. So it's interesting to see that, Tori West or Wells, who was in Fertile and Ray movies and stuff like that. It's just interesting to see how exploitation grindhouse cinema ran parallel to porn at one point.
Well, it was crazy because even one of the trailers are sitting here like, isn't that a Madonna song?
Yes, we thought it was Holiday.
Yeah, it has to be whoever wrote the song Holiday. It's the same beat. We didn't get to look up the decades to see what the correlation was.
I think it was around 84.
A lot of the music you recognize from like big movies.
Yeah.
Like not even like little shit.
Because they used to do that a lot with like foreign films. Like they would wouldn't care about the copyright, and they would just use like a James Bond theme, or there's a movie called Cruel Jaws, where they literally just use a version of the Star Wars music. But yeah, no, it's super interesting. Like again, it's one of those things where I wish I could have experienced that era as a film fan, not just like as a fuck fan.
Yeah.
But like it would have been cool to see
actually like realize what you're watching versus being like, why are we watching?
Exactly,
this?
And it's like, and again, there were a lot of mainstream filmmakers, mainstream writers who were working in that industry. Gary Gravers, who was working with Orson Welles, was also doing porn, was also doing Freddle and Ray style movies.
Yeah.
So there is this interesting dynamic that went on there, and a lot of Ron Jeremy back before people knew he was a total scumbag.
Yeah.
And
that was his thing. Like he always wanted to be a comedian.
Yeah.
And
Ginger Lynn, who wanted to take a picture with you.
I did.
That
I
was so cool.
Ginger Lynn. I was so happy.
But no, this was great. So if you're a fan of trailers and of compilations,
give this a shot.
Yeah, I would say give this a shot, man.
And from what I looked, this guy actually came out with a bunch of them. And
yeah.
If you are out there, Mr. Producer, please come out with more of these.
Well, this is from 2007.
I know, but I know supposedly the production company that did these isn't doing anything anymore. So I'm requesting, like, we need more of these. And
I think Synapse had the original, if I'm not mistaken, Brain Damage owned Swamp Zombies, the first one.
Yeah.
But Synapse did a lot of these trailer compilations, and you were in Midnight Show. That movie's made of trailers. I
never got to see it.
It's not done yet.
I know, but I still never got to see it.
We had to cut a lot of people out of it.
I want my dinosaur scene
that is so
and my
funny.
shark.
That was so funny. We filmed back during COVID when everything was shut down. It was Tony, myself, and then you came and helped us shoot the movie that will never come out. We shot an entire movie that will never be seen. But you played a girl in a bikini with a dinosaur helmet.
I was a T-Rex, which is my favorite character.
Yeah, but with two machetes.
Oh my god!
With a bikini, a dinosaur head, and two machetes.
He will post the pictures. And
I'll find it. Yeah. And then there's another one where it's just he and I talking in the theater, and then
I'm a shark that's just like.
Yeah, you just wander by in a shark outfit.
And all I hear is them cracking up in the back, and I'm like, what? And I'm just walking as a shark.
Because when I worked at Screenwave, I hung out with you. I think the most of everybody. We were just around all the time. But we went and shot a bunch of stuff at the Wayne when it was closed. But yeah, I'm a big trailer fan, and I figured this was going to be a lot of like sex scenes, but I didn't realize there was going to be as much
production. Yeah,
a lot of diversity in it. And again, it was cool to see that flow of different types of trailers, and I love the titles.
Oh, some of them are just so like you'll just laugh at some of the trailers themselves. You're just like Tickled Pink, like okay.
Tickled Pink.
Right.
What was the what was the other one we had?
All American Girls.
All American Girls, and then Supergirls do General Hospital.
Oh my god!
And stuff like that.
They also had Debbie Does Everything, or
Debbie Does Everybody. Debbie Does Everything, and it's because there was Debbie Does Dallas 2 and Debbie Does Dallas 3 were on there. Bambi Woods was in both of those. And then because years later there was Debbie Does Dishes, but that was like comedic ones with like Nina Hartley playing the Bambi Woods character. Remember her?
Yeah.
She still looks good.
Nice.
She was in Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
She's having sex with everybody and makes little Bill kill himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is we had a couple drinks. We are waiting for Mets to get here because tomorrow we leave for Ohio.
We need to show Mets this and then have another review.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna find more of these. There's got to be more. Trailer
if you guys know of any other ones like this, please let us know. There actually is, like, if you actually want to see like old school porn, I found a site. It's called like Tube Porn.
Because look, Synapse has like tons of like other available ones, and these are just like kind of, I guess they're just loops and clip shows and stuff like that. Because I was kind of surprised there wasn't more John Holmes in it. There was no Chrissy Canyon in it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But for you said we were having a conversation one night. You're like, you have to find that. Yes. And then today you texted me and you're like, what time you were coming over? And you're like, that DVD ever get there? I was like, it literally just showed up. And you're like, we're watching that tonight. So we screened old school smut on the big screen at 100.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I got to see it when I have to worry about my Pee-wee moment. So.
I kept an eye on you to make sure.
Yeah. But I definitely have to say, if you guys do like some old classic porn, there is a site. It's called Tube Porn Classics, so you can actually find a lot of the videos that we saw.
All right, there you go. And the whole time I'm trying to film stuff to put in the video.
We're laughing hysterically.
But it's story stuff, and then it's like buttholes.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm like, just focusing on us and just use sound bites.
I did that a couple times on some of them because the music was just great. And then there's got to be another. I got to send you the website. It's just porn soundtracks.
I know. I have to see this, but check it out. It is again 42nd Street Forever, from what I saw, there actually is 2 versions of this.
Yeah.
This is the second version that came out. There is one other one that came out before this, and that was their premiere movie.
Yeah. And I have the other ones of just the regular Grindhouse trailers and stuff like that. All right, we're going to go home. We're going to go back to my home now.
You'll see us soon for the convention.
Bye.
Bye.